Do I need roadside assistance? What about insurance? How concerned should I be about weather, wildfires, or bringing my pet along when I travel with an RV? Hi, I'm Jen Grover, and on this week's episode of Tab Talk, I'll resume my conversation with Amanda Evans about how to keep you safe when you're traveling with an RV. We'll talk about weather, fire safety, roadside assistance, insurance, and other factors you should consider before you venture into unfamiliar territory. Be sure to stay tuned until the end. I'm going to share one of my favorite tips for keeping you safe while you're on the go. I'll be making an exciting announcement on my YouTube channel in a few weeks. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out. Stay tuned for this week's episode of Tab Talk. I think the other thing people fail to think about when they think about safety, they think about somebody doing something to them, but safety is so much more than that. And it involves being aware of your surroundings, whether it's I'm in the mountains and there may be wildfires, or I'm in a canyon and there
Yes.
could be a flash flood. Understand your surroundings. I hear a lot of times people say, I like to be spontaneous, I don't like to plan. But to some degree, you're being selfish and
Yeah.
irresponsible if you don't take some precautions. You know, it's
So
dangerous.
true.
We were in Wyoming a couple years ago, my sister-in-law and I, and the sky got pretty ugly looking. And there were severe thunderstorm warnings. We were like, is this the type of weather that you could have a tornado? I know enough
Mhm.
about the weather to recognize that this is the type of weather that could spawn a tornado. So we were very cautious. We knew where the buildings were that we could go to if we needed to seek shelter. So those are the type of things you have to be aware of. It goes beyond just what people can do to you. There are risks everywhere.
It's a really good point, and I don't think I've ever watched the weather as much in my life as I have since I've been traveling full time. It because exactly what you first geographic differences from what you're used to. I grew up in Florida, so what do I watch? Hurricanes, but there are tornadoes and there are hailstorms and there are all kinds of other things that forest fires and things that these other states experience. And I got glued to I had still have several different weather apps to know what I'm headed into. And if you're out living like we live now, if somebody's watching this and they're going to do more weekends, it's not as much of an issue. But if you're going to extend, which is what we enjoy doing and what these campers are so well designed to do, because you can do those kinds of things, you do have to pay much more attention to the weather and to your surroundings and what's going on. I pay attention to smoke that I never paid attention to
Oh
before, all
yeah.
these things, because you've got your house behind you, basically. So your lodging is being pulled behind you. So it's a really good point. And the other ways to stay safe, I think also is getting a good feel for your camper is that things can break down. I have really good insurance. For both my camper and my truck. How do I know I have really good insurance? Because I had to use it 4 times in 2 months this last summer. So I know I have very good insurance. I think that's important too, when how you insure these things, to know that you're not going to be stranded on the side of the road if something happens, because things do. And to make sure that don't necessarily go the cheapest, go with what you're going to get out of the insurance when you're insuring, because that's a safety issue as well. I don't have to worry about changing the tire on my tab on the side of the road. I would call Roadside Assistance and have them put it on a flatbed and take it to where the tire would be changed, because that's part of my contract. They're not going to leave me stranded on the side of the road. And so those are important things too, just knowing how you're going to take care of this.
Yeah, for the first time last year, in my entire life, I ran out of gas on the side of the road. Well, and I was towing my tab. I was on the side of the interstate in Wyoming, and I have a newer car with a capless tank, and I thought that I had filled up, and I didn't pay close enough attention, and it shut off. Like some of those
Mm,
older pups won't stay pumping, and they shut off
right,
prematurely.
right.
So I got past Cheyenne, Wyoming, and I was like, oh no. And I thought, that's okay. I know Buford, Wyoming is coming up. I've stopped there for gas before. And I pull into Buford, and I feel like I'm pulling in on fumes as it is. And that one gas station in the smallest town in Wyoming is closed. It's no longer open.
Oh,
And so
gosh.
I thought, well, maybe I'll try to make it down to the next city. I think it was Laramie. And I started down the road, and I barely got on the interstate and I was out of gas. So I was able to pull off, but I'm on I-80, trucks whizzing past. I call my roadside assistance, and I won't say which one, but I had unpleasant results from that first one I called.
Oh no.
And so it elongated the process, and I ended up calling my insurance company, and I have roadside assistance through them too, and I'm glad I had a backup because they were so professional. They got somebody out to me right away, and I was on my way. But yeah, I do believe in roadside assistance.
Yes.
I've written a blog post. You can search if you're really interested into the company I won't be renewing with, but make sure you have a good solid insurance. Some people like AAA. One thing I've heard is not all states offer AAA for RVs, and so I'm not
Right.
sure
Yeah.
how that coverage affects you if you're traveling. Like,
Right.
would they extend that if you're in another part of the country? We all know AAA is like the gold standard for roadside assistance, but you can get
Yeah.
it a lot of different places now. Your insurance company,
Yeah.
through some
Yeah.
of the large camping groups. Do your
Yeah.
research would be my recommendation.
Do the research, absolutely. And I think that anybody who's interested in buying a camper, one of the advantages that we have with the nuCamp campers is we do have the forum, which is monitored by owners of these campers, not by the company itself. And so people go on and post those kinds of questions all the time. And then there's also the Facebook pages for these campers. And so people will post, I don't know what to do about insurance. Who do you guys insure your campers through? And you can start kind of amalgamating the responses and saying, gosh, it looks like 80% go with this company, or it's 50-50, but nobody likes company XYZ. They had bad experiences. Because I think that it's very intimidating when you're starting out on this journey, because there's so many moving parts to it, and insuring your vehicle is one of them. And
I think I
it's
probably speak for you that a lot of what I've learned has been through those groups. I mean, part of it is
absolutely,
getting out and doing it yourself, but we are always standing on the shoulders of the people who've gone before us and shared that
absolutely
information. So,
right.
and use the search function, read about it in your spare time. If you have
Yeah.
downtime, just read how people problem solve. Most of us don't take ourselves too seriously, and we're able to laugh
Yeah.
about it. One last tip. One of the best ways to find the most up-to-date information, whether it be weather, fire, or other emergencies impacting an area you're visiting, is to follow the social media accounts of local emergency management professionals. I follow National Weather Service offices, National Forest Service offices, National Park Service social media accounts, emergency management, local sheriffs, and other law enforcement and safety personnel accounts. This allows me to jump right to the top of the Twitter feed and find the most recent and up-to-date information. If you haven't already bookmarked the InsaWeb website, please be sure to do so if you're traveling to an area that's prone to wildfires. With the InsaWeb website, you get the latest information about specific wildfire incidents. Last but not least, have fun. There's so much to enjoy out there this summer, and I know it's going to be a little crowded. Be patient and make sure that you get to some of those places that are off the beaten path. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next week on Tab Talk.